The Hidden Meaning of Truth and Untruth, Part-05. Pratibha Shah. Go ahead.
I want to ask, what is heet-mitta-priya-satya? Truth that prevails in the past, present, and future. Is it for the self or for the six eternal elements?
It can be considered for the six eternal elements. Satya, the absolute truth, is applicable to all the six eternal elements. But what does trikar mean? It is the permanent truth. It is eternal. Even the celestial life form will end after hundreds of thousands of years. Once his merit karma finish, he'll return to the human form. Therefore, the celestial life form cannot be called trikar satya. The life form in hell, the celestial life form, the animal life form, and the human life form cannot be considered trikar.
So only the six eternal elements?
Only the six eternal elements can be called trikar satya.
So then, can the properties of the soul be considered a relative truth, satya?
No, they're not relative truth. They too are considered sat or eternal. Properties are considered eternal, and the matter is also considered eternal. The matter is considered permanent, and the properties are also permanent, but the phases are temporary.
Yes, but permanent means relative truth, satya, or eternal, sat.
Actually, it's like the one that has all three, matter, property, and phases, is called an eternal element or vastu.
Yes.
That eternal element itself is called sat. But what does sat mean? It means that its matter is permanent, its properties are permanent, and its phases are temporary. That is called sat.
Yes.
What is called asat? The belief of I am Chandu is called asat, because I am in the temporary. That means the permanent state is lost, and he comes into the temporary. That is called asat. That is not an eternal element. Or that's called vibhav, or the assumed identification with that which is not one's own. Do you understand? And that is called sat. I'm a pure soul means he has come into sat.
Okay, Jai Sachidanand.
The developing I has come into its own properties. The properties of the self are called the absolute truth or sat. Danesh Ruparelia, then Jyotika Pancholi.
Jyotika Pancholi.
Yes.
On page 14, the questioner asks, Questioner, is there any other difference between Sat and Satya? Dada Shri says, Satya is temporary and Sat is permanent. Both are different by their inherent nature. Satya is applicable to the world, to worldly interaction, whereas Sat is applicable to the real, Nischay. So the question that arises here is, how is it that Sat is applicable to the real, Nischay? How is that? What does it mean here by Nischay?
That's it. It's applicable to the soul, to the pure soul.
Pure soul and the soul.
That means the real.
So the real, what does it mean by the real?
That which is eternal is called the real. If you put a dot and you draw a line beside it, then you can say this is in the east and that is in the west. If you put another dot in the bottom, then you can say that this is in the north and that is in the south. And if there's only a dot, then can you say where is east, west, north, and south?
No.
Can you find any connection?
No.
So what is relative? If something else has arisen only then, so if the self is alone, then that's called the real. But if he encounters a train, then that's called a worldly interaction because he's the passenger. If he meets the wife, then he's called the husband. If he meets his child, then he's called the father. And if he meets his father, then he is the son. So then is he the father, the son, the husband, or the passenger? Who is he? Who is he truly? Truly he is only the pure soul. That is only for the time being. If the train leaves, then the sense of being a passenger goes away too, doesn't it? So being a passenger, a husband, a son, or a father is not permanent. Whatever he is for eternity is called trikar satya.
Okay.
That's called the soul. By real viewpoint, he's the pure soul. By relative viewpoint, he is the husband. Based on the wife, he is the husband. And if his son comes, can he still be called the husband?
No.
He's the father then. That's the relative viewpoint. It's dependent on this, with respect to something. is called the relative viewpoint. And without anything, absolutely, is called the real. Real is that which has no dependency on anyone. It is independent. We call that the pure soul.
Okay.
The self is the original element, which is the real viewpoint, whereas this is the relative viewpoint. I am a doctor is from the relative viewpoint. If the doctor gets sick, then is he called a doctor or a patient?
No, he's called a patient then.
Yes. Aren't you a doctor? No, I'm a patient right now. And if he goes to jail, then is he a patient or a prisoner? He'll be called a prisoner.
He will be called a prisoner.
This doctor is a prisoner? Yes, he is the one. But he did something wrong, so they put him in jail. So he's a prisoner. And if he's gambling, then he'll be called a gambler. If he's sitting in satsang, then he'll be called a satsang attendee. He himself is one and the same. The one that is the same for eternity is called the real. And that which is with respect to something is called the relative viewpoint. The relative viewpoint is called worldly interaction, and the real viewpoint is called nishchay.
So by the real, this file number 1 needs to do just this, right? To just envision, to do chintwan, that I am verily the pure soul.
No. Are you really Jyotika or really the pure soul? What will you say?
Pure soul?
So that means that you're the pure soul by real viewpoint, but then when someone asks Jyotika, then you'll say, that's of course me. My name is Jyotika. So by the relative viewpoint, you are Jyotika, and by real viewpoint, you are a pure soul. You have two states. By the relative viewpoint, you are Jyotika, and by the real viewpoint, you are a pure soul.
Yes, but that should be heartily, right? We should have that from within.
Not heartily. We're calling that the Agna. If you follow the Agna, then you can stay in the state of the pure soul.
Okay, yeah. Jai Sachidanand.
Jai Sachidanand. Danish. Ruparelia. Then it's Pushpa. Ashton.
Jai Sachidanand.
Go ahead.
What is Dada trying to say in this? Everyone will push one towards untruth, but who will push one towards Sat? What people of the world consider a vitamin is poison for attaining the self, Param Sat. And what is poison to these people of the world is a vitamin for attaining the self. This is because the view, drashti, of the two is different. The method of the two is different. The belief of the two is different.
Dada is trying to say exactly what is written.
But I cannot understand it.
Oh. But it's written there.
I cannot understand it.
It's very clear. What people of the world would consider a vitamin, giving donation is considered a vitamin, right?
Yes.
Oh, he's so benevolent. He donated 700,000 rupees. He gave 15 million rupees. What a benevolent businessman. So benevolent. Now that benevolent man, and on the other hand, there's this thief who looted a lot. He's corrupt. He will be considered bad, and this other person will be called good. But is the self a donor or a thief? Is the self good or bad? Or is it different from both?
None of these are properties of the self.
This is a type of worldly viewpoint that has arisen. This person is taking money, so he is called a thief. And the other person is giving money, so he's called a donor. This one is called a donor, and the other is called a thief. One is giving money, donating it, and the other is taking it or stealing it. One must go beyond both of these. These are the relative truth. The vitamin of the world for attaining the self. If he sits back presuming, I'm a good person, I'm a benevolent man, I'm honest, and these people are bad, then his moksha will be halted. So now if we look at the other side, that which is poison to the people of the world, if people are accusing someone, he's a bad person, he's worthless. And with these accusations, he feels, oh, I'm such a bad person. But then we make him realize, you're a pure soul. The good and bad is all relative. Then no matter what accusations come, he remains in Jagrati. They are insulting the body, but I am a pure soul. Then even if he receives accusations, tremendous pain, grave obstacles, or deep troubles, but he goes towards his soul during such bad times, then that becomes a vitamin for him. That's why it's said that unfavorable circumstances are vitamins and favorable circumstances are food. So unfavorable things become vitamins. If people who lead a worldly life get accused or insulted or face a big loss of 50 million rupees, they get depressed. Whereas how did those who have received Gnan take that? Oh great, my moh or my illusory attachment dissolved, my pride broke, my greed broke. When your children break your moh, or they insult you, they hurt you, then understand that this is good, my moh has broken. So for worldly people, he betrayed me, he hurt me. People find such betrayal very painful, whereas we find it very beneficial. He's very beneficial for my moksha. He's pushing me towards moksha. That's what it's trying to say here. Do you understand?
Yes, Jai Satchidanand.
Jai Satchidanand. Danesh.
Jai Satchidanand.
Yes, go ahead.
All this discussion on truth and untruth is based on our understanding. There are no facts in it.
There is.
The thieves,
Facts.
their business is to steal. He was born to steal.
Yes.
Right. Then,
But if at some time that thief repents, then can he not become a donor?
but he,
He cannot remain a thief forever if he feels, what I'm doing is wrong, I should not do this, I should get a job and earn money, then he'll change. We're trying to say that this is changeable. Don't create quarrels by placing value on it.
that changeable is fine. It is okay.
Yes, it is changeable. It is the relative correct and changeable. Is the soul a thief or a donor? The soul is beyond both.
Yes.
The eternal soul remains eternal, while this is the relative correct. It is changeable and it is the relative correct. And the soul is the real correct. It is Trikar Satya. It is unchangeable, eternal, and permanent.
But all these are individual beliefs and understandings.
Yes, that is correct. That's why we said that something is a truth from the viewpoint of a community, from the viewpoint of a caste, from the viewpoint of a country, and from the viewpoint of time.
This does not reach the self.
It does not reach the self, but
No, it does not touch the self.
for the soul,
Whatever we are talking about is giving rise to Chandubhai.
it is in fact that. That is what we need to understand. The self has nothing to do with this. The self is beyond these dualities of truth and untruth.
Right.
This is called the truth until one is in the worldly life and until he has received the knowledge of the self.
But for knowledge of the self, one needs to face setbacks.
Yes, he must search for a gnani. And if he doesn't have the knowledge of the self, then he must accept the worldly truth. With that, he will have peace. And if he doesn't accept the worldly truth and adopts worldly untruth, then he'll become miserable. In the worldly life, does a person like happiness or pain?
Well, one shouldn't feel either. It should not get happy in any pleasure, nor should he be sad during any pain.
Even then, to begin with, what will an ordinary person like?
Happiness.
He likes happiness. Will he like it if his money gets stolen? Or will he like it if he gets his money back safely?
Yeah.
So he likes
Yeah.
happiness.
He likes happiness.
He likes happiness. If his child was unwell,
But we should understand that this happiness is wrong.
yes, if his child is unwell, then he'll feel very sad. And when his child gets better, he's relieved. Yes, he's feeling better now. The poor child was really sick for 3 months. So he likes happiness. He does not like pain. So if you like happiness, then accept worldly truth. If our wife
Yeah.
were to have an affair, then we won't like it. And if she's loyal, then we like it. That is a worldly truth. And with that worldly truth, we will remain happy in the worldly life. And if you say, is it over merely with this much? No. If you want to go to moksha, then you will have to go beyond this. Is the self anyone's husband?
No.
But the self at least has a wife, right? If it's not a husband, then how can it have a wife?
No, it can't.
So the self has no wife, nor can it be a husband. When one gets this knowledge, he will go to moksha.
Right.
So you follow the worldly truth, and you have to know the truth of the real.
But you can feel the worldly truth. It feels...
It feels, and it's also in connection with the other person.
That feeling is wrong.
It feels and it's connected. If you don't give school fees to your children, I'm not your father. You're not my son. I'm a pure soul. Then the child will say, Dad, what are you talking about? Give me the money.
No.
So that feels.
In worldly interaction, the child is there, and we should carry out whatever duties we may have towards him.
Right. You should do that.
We do that, but nature makes us do that.
That's correct. Nature makes us do that.
That's what it is.
But you are in a connection.
Yes.
Worldly interaction means you are in connection. You may say, I feel that I should give you something, but you're not giving it to him. So give him something. Do that worldly interaction. You are in connection.
In this, isn't there a difference in understanding that I'm doing this, I'm helping him, or my soul is making me do this?
Yes, to understand that, we need to understand this science. It's worth knowing the science as to who is making you do this.
Yeah.
And that is what Dada Bhagwan has revealed. That this is the result of scientific circumstantial evidence. Nobody is an individual doer. Who's making us do this? In the last life, you planted the seed and today it's bearing fruits. But who is giving you the fruits? Scientific circumstantial evidence.
Yes. But is it not an action and reaction?
It is that.
It is based on the properties.
Yes, causes and effects are called action and reaction. That is correct. It is right.
Thank you. Jai Satchidanand.
Jai Sachidanand. So let us now, the point that is mentioned here, do not place undue insistence on this worldly truth, relative truth. It is, by its very inherent nature, untruth. What is relative truth? It is the truth only as far as maintaining the arrangement of society is concerned. So let us focus on these words, the insistence of worldly truth. We are believing the worldly truth to be true to such an extent that what I believe is the truth. Truth, morality, honesty, living impartially, these are my life's. If you see someone who is untruthful, if he lies, then you get disturbed. Such liars, I don't want them in my life at all. I'll cut ties with such people. Hey, don't become so insistent. We will lose our moksha. If you cannot tolerate matters of relative truth, then tell the other person, it's not a good thing to lie. It'll be nice if you accept the truth. This should not be done. Speak in a normal tone, without getting affected, without any insistence. We do not want to become so insistent. You're a liar. I'll get you kicked out of the company. I don't want you in my department. But we end up becoming insistent. We get attached to good things and become abhorrent to the bad things. Similarly, we get attached to the right and become abhorrent for the false. But right and wrong are relative. If we become insistent for them, then, if there's insistence for the truth, then that leads to quarrels. It harms us as well as the other person. I am right is a type of ego. All day long, he thinks, that person is wrong, he's wrong, he's wrong, he's wrong. He continues to have abhorrence towards him. I don't like untruthful people at all. I get really abhorrent and scornful. But by calling him wrong, are you calling his soul wrong? Then it'll be the same as calling your soul wrong. It'll bring veils of ignorance over your soul. Therefore if there are any work-related discussions for which everyone has come together, then we can say, it'll be good if we do this. But we don't want to be insistent. With insistence, we are losing our soul, our bliss, and veils of ignorance come over it. We will be disliked by the other person, and he will also feel hurt. So the insistence, it's worth removing all types of insistence. The one who has no insistence can achieve moksha. There are indeed some types of insistence in religion. While worshipping, we can do this. We do not do that while performing the rituals. During worship ritual, we keep things this way. During fasting, we can have black salt, but not this salt. We cannot eat fried stuff. We can eat rice, bananas, sweets. Some will say, we cannot have particular sweets. All these rules, worldly interactions are set. It's fine. It's fine for those people. And if you're fasting, you can follow that. There are people who are very experienced in that. You can ask them, Auntie, can I eat this during fasting or not? You can eat spicy dry snacks. Oh, nice. My aunt said I can eat it. So they're experts even for this. You have to do what they say. And actually, the self does not eat at all. So the self has nothing to do with fasting or eating more or not eating at all. And this self is our part. We must remain in this part and finish the worldly life and interactions. So after Gnan, we want to go towards being free from insistence. We don't want to break people's beliefs. And we don't want to hold on to them either. We don't even want to hold on to our own beliefs either. We can say, in my viewpoint, it's like this. I think that it should be like this. Yet, whatever everyone agrees to is acceptable to me. We don't want to hold on to anything. We want to see in Samaik that up until now, in worldly interactions, at home, in the office, in satsang activities, or in any other matters of worldly life, or with neighbors, don't place your garbage can here. We'd become insistent. Keep it over there. No, I will not put it there. Or if you say, don't park here, they'll reply, we will park here. Just let it go. Is this permanently our house or permanently our space? You can say as a matter of normal arrangement, it'll be good if you place it like this. Everyone will be at peace. But when we get caught in insistence, then that goes on in our mind the entire day. These people are wrong. How can I get rid of them? How can I force them to leave? How can I straighten them out? And in doing all this, we lose our moksha. So today, let's see where we held on to insistence in society, in worldly interaction, in the office, in family, or in other dealings. Apply Gnan against this insistence, that this is a file, Vyavasthit is the doer. Get work done by helping them understand. See the evidentiary instrument as faultless. Make adjustments. Adjust everywhere. Don't become insistent. If you become insistent, then you will have to suffer. If you adamantly hold on to something, then one day you will take a beating and you will have to let go of it. If you don't let go of it, if you continue being insistent, then you will have to keep taking beatings. The day you let go is when you will be free from the beatings. So we must understand that any beatings we get is due to some insistence of ours. There is insistence towards the children or towards the wife. The wife has insistence towards the husband. You should do this and not do that. All this becomes a reason for clashes. And he hurts himself and others too. So in today's Samaik, let's look at where we have had big or small insistence. We may have our viewpoint, but insistence arises when we hold on to that viewpoint and make others follow it. We may have a viewpoint, if you do this at this time, then it would be nice, but don't hold on to that. Instead, admit to Vyavasthit. Finish the work according to how Vyavasthit runs it. We may feel that if it happens this way, then that's good. But if circumstances change, no, we should certainly not do it like this. Okay, it's fine. It was my desire that if things happen this way, then that would be good. But if you hold on to that, then it'll go towards insistence. And if you let go of it, then you will be considered without insistence. This is the stage that we, the Mahatmas, want to reach. Sometimes we may speak out our viewpoints. With everyone's viewpoints on the table, we can also put our viewpoint. I like it this way. It should happen this way. Then whatever everyone accepts, we are admitting to Vyavasthit. Do not consider that, oh look, he did the way he wills and wants. If I let go, then it'll always happen according to his wills and wants. It's neither happening according to his wills or wants, nor according to ours. It's happening according to Vyavasthit's wills or wants. If it is in the account of Vyavasthit for this to happen 5 times, then it'll happen 5 times as per his way. The evidences will change such that the 6th time, it'll happen according to someone else's wills and wants. Therefore, we need to accept Vyavasthit. Instead of leaving it to Vyavasthit, we are taking the reins in our hands. We are interfering in the authority of the non-self. Do things the way I say. Do it as I will and want. I am right. I have experience. Isn't this the very reason for quarrels between a daughter-in-law and a mother-in-law? I'm experienced and you're new at this. And this leads to quarrels. In business too, the son does business in his way, and the father says, this is the wrong way. Let him get experience. Based on his experience, he will understand what is right and wrong. But we become insistent. The ego of I know something also brings insistence. The ego of I know how to do this also brings insistence. The ego of I was right could also bring insistence. Let's recognize this insistence. What type of disease is arising in us? Are we interfering in any matter? Are we getting things done according to our will and want through insistence? Are we proving others as wrong? A person provokes others. You cannot do it in this way at all. He will speak negative with a few people and ultimately dismiss the matter. And then he does things as per his wills and wants. That's a little more dangerous. But all these, one mistake creates a series of mistakes. One insistence allows so many new mistakes to come through. So we will see in Samayik that in our worldly interactions, whenever there has been a burning sensation, suffering, or we held on to something, we should understand that we held on to the past or the future, but we didn't stay in the present. If there is insistence, then we will surely lose the present. The other person will seem to be at fault, and we will continue to suffer. But if we come out of this, then we will be free. We will be able to stay in the present, in the state as the knower or seer, in the state free from interference. Even people will feel, whatever this person is saying, he has no interference. He is not holding on to anything. He never interferes. He gives suggestions. His ideas are good, they're worth implementing. People will accept it on their own. If they find it fit, then they will accept it. But we should not hold on to it from our end. Today, let's see where we hold on to something. Where do we lapse in this way? Is everyone understanding this matter? Then let us do Vidhi for Samayik. Repeat after me. O Dada Bhagwan, O Lord Simandar Swami, with the pure applied awareness as the self, in worldly interactions, in any dealings, in any work related to the organization, in the family, or in the office, or at home, where I have interacted with any person with insistence, then let me clear all these occurrences with Gnan. And let me remain in the real spiritual effort to come in the state free from insistence. Give me the strength to do such a Samayik. I surrender my mind, speech, and body, all illusions related to my name, bhav karma, dravya karma, no karma, at the lotus feet of Dada Bhagwan. Jai Sachidanand.